even him whose coming is after the workings of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. But we are bound to give thanks alway to God for you, brethren beloved of the Lord, because God hath from the beginning chosen you to salvation, through sanctification of the Spirit and belief of the truth, whereunto he called you by our gospel to the obtaining of the glory of our Lord Jesus Christ. Therefore, brethren, stand fast, and hold the traditions which ye have been taught, whether by word or our epistle. Now our Lord Jesus Christ himself, and God, even our Father, which hath loved us, and hath given us everlasting consolation and good hope through grace, comfort your hearts, and establish you in every good word and work.
It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. You have to see it for yourself. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Thank you, coronavirus vaccine, for being a scientific marvel that will save humanity. Or as millions of Americans put it, that's all good, but when does a gummy version come out?
This fall and winter, flu viruses and COVID-19 may both spread. It's more important than ever to reduce the risk of flu for yourself, your family, and your community. And getting a flu shot is one way to do that. The flu shot is safe for all ages and all health conditions, and is free to all Indigenous people because we tend to have higher health risks than others.
The National Science Foundation is coordinating with the CDC and other agencies. They indicate that the first group of people that should get the vaccine, if and when it is available, are people at the greatest risk. And that includes everything from nursing homes to people with serious pre-existing conditions that would cause people to be in real trouble. A lot of those people happen to be black and brown.
Hell no.
And so it would be based upon the degree of exposure. It would go first, though, I would argue, but I have a scientific board lay it out for me. It would go first, as laid out for me today, to first responders, doctors, and nurses, the people who we're most needed to have available to deal with our crises, health as well as physical crises in our communities.
We trusted the scientists back in 1976 with the original swine flu shot, and a lot of people got sick. Right.
Not only that, some people died, some people were paralyzed.
From the shot itself.
And people remember the swine flu vaccine as a terrible disaster.
But this is one time. Forget the conspiracy. Listen to our government agencies. These guys are telling the truth. You know, there's no conspiracy here, folks. Just get your damn vaccine.
Case levels are high, but a lot of the case levels are high because of the fact that we have the best testing program anywhere in the world. We've developed the most and the best tests, and we test far more than any other country, so it shows, obviously, more cases. By vaccinating the elderly and the high risk, we will effectively end this phase of the pandemic and allow seniors to reclaim their golden years, the golden years of their lives, which is so incredible. And it's about time that they can have those golden years. Again, this process is starting right away. Millions of doses will soon be going out the door. They're all ready, waiting for that final approval. As soon as April, the vaccine will be available to the entire general population, with the exception of places like New York State, where, for political reasons, the governor decided to say, and I don't think it's good politically, I think it's very bad from a health standpoint, but he wants to take his time on the vaccine. He doesn't trust where the vaccine's coming from. These are coming from the greatest companies anywhere in the world, greatest labs in the world. But he doesn't trust the fact that it's this White House, this administration. So we won't be delivering it to New York until we have authorization to do so. And that pains me to say that. This is a very successful, amazing vaccine at 90% and more.
Just get your damn vaccine. Just get your damn vaccine.
That's a trade-off society is making because of very, very high medical costs and a lack of willingness to say, is spending $1 million on that last 3 months of life for that patient, would it be better not to lay off those 10 teachers and to make that trade-off in medical costs? But that's called the death panel, and you're not supposed to have that discussion. So you, of course,
well, that's an interesting thing you just said, which is just the last 3 months in life for one person or something, because we haven't had a discussion of how to allocate that money. It means we lay off 3 teachers to do so. I mean, in other words, we haven't had this type of allocation.
We're making that trade-off because of huge medical costs that are not examined to see which ones actually have no benefit whatsoever. And because of pension generosity, we will be laying off over 100,000 teachers, which, I'm very much against that.
The economy is not going to be anything like it was. It's going to take a long time to recover. It's going to be, people are going to be surprised at how slow and how fitful this is.
Fire, war, earthquakes. And so government, Dr. Fauci's doing a very good job of saying the numbers are what count here. If we have, 1 in 10,000 side effects, that's, way more, 700,000 people who will suffer from that. Hopefully this will renew our sense that we're kind of in this together, in our communities and our country. And, we're all in this together. We've got to get rid of coronavirus from the entire world. That's a global problem. So I'm glad, that people are coming together. It won't go to zero, but it will shrink. Global GDP is going to take, probably the biggest hit ever, and how hard it's going to be to get back to the normal life that we had before. For the world at large, normalcy only returns when we've largely vaccinated the entire global population.
We see the light at the end of the tunnel.
The good news, Canada has already secured 20 million doses of Pfizer's vaccine, thanks to a strategy Ottawa has been pursuing, not so quietly, for months.
When a vaccine is ready, Canada will be too.
The Government of Canada has entered into agreements with Pfizer and Moderna.
At least 88 million doses, with options to attain tens of millions more.
In all, Canada has snapped up more than 300 million doses from 7 different companies, all for different vaccines, trying to cover all its bases.
Indeed, Canada is one of the countries around the world with the very best portfolio of potential vaccines, because we know that there is a certain amount of uncertainty as to which vaccines will land.
Uncertainty, too, on how to distribute a vaccine when it's ready. Pfizer's vaccine requires 2 doses and needs to be kept very cold at minus 75 degrees. Cities like Toronto are already trying to find enough space to vaccinate the general public.
We are doing this work now so that we will be ready for what we know will be a massive effort.
Plans are already drafted for who would get vaccinated first, those most at risk, in long-term care homes, on the front lines, and in Indigenous communities.
Rollout is going to be the most difficult part of this vaccine. For us as a general population to get a vaccine in the arm, yes, we might be looking at 6 months to a year.
And the government is still pursuing its strategy of buying vaccine options. It's in the final stages of talks for more doses from Pfizer in the hopes of covering more Canadians. Salima Shivji, CBC News, Ottawa.
when we've largely vaccinated the entire global population.
The nail on the head. This is going to be a public relations, trust your government and your health officials public campaign. Mark my word, you and I are going to be talking about this a lot between now and fall.
Me, look on the CDC website as to what is in the swine flu vaccine. You know, aluminum, insect repellent, formaldehyde, mercury.
Very significantly in the manufacturing of this vaccine in such a way as to when we have the clinical efficacy demonstration with these vaccines, we would also have vaccine doses to be able to immunize the U.S. population. So the two vaccines that are completing their phase 3 trial are likely to be filing their files with the FDA for a potential emergency use authorization within the next few weeks. And hopefully, if approved, they could be used for immunization in the U.S. population in the month of December. And we plan to have enough vaccine doses available for use in the U.S. population to immunize about 20 million individuals in the month of December, and another 25 to 30 million per month on an ongoing basis from there on. And as of the month of February or March, if we have more vaccines approved, such as the live vectored vaccine, we may be able to immunize a larger number of Americans on an ongoing basis per month. Operation Warp Speed didn't only focus on vaccines. We also looked at therapeutics, and we have worked with a number of companies developing monoclonal antibodies, in particular, that are able to neutralize the virus.
Human beings are a disease, a cancer. You are a plague.
When we've largely vaccinated the entire global population.
Aluminum, insect repellent, formaldehyde, mercury.
One day, Jesus is coming. You may be at church. You may be at work. You may be asleep. God grant that you will be ready when he makes his personal appearance. My God, what if his appearance occurs on a Sunday morning? My prophetic word to you this morning is get ready, get ready!